Namaste. Today's video I'm going to talk about Goddess Chinnamasta. Goddess Chinnamasta is one of the 10 Mahavidyas. They are 10 emanations of Shakti, and these 10 emanations of Shakti are 10 wisdom goddesses. By doing the sadhana, we can attain moksha from cycles of life and death. So these 10 goddesses, they represent the aspect which has a form, and by getting hold of the form we reach the higher aspect, which is the formless aspect of the divine. These are the Dasamahavidyas, the 10 forms of, you can say, Goddess Kali or Shakti. So the 10 Mahavidyas, or the great wisdoms, that is what it translates to when I say Mahavidyas. They are Kali, Tara, Tripura Sundari, Bhuvaneshwari, Bhairavi, Chinnamasta, Dhumavati, Baglamukhi, Matangi, and Kamalatmika. That is in the sequence from left to right. These 10 emanations of Shakti, they represent different aspects of her. So each Mahavidya, it is a unique path to self-realization and spiritual awakening. These Mahavidyas, they give a specific way to connect with the divine and to overcome limitations which not allow us to grow spiritually. And even their imagery, it carries a lot of meaning. If you study the imagery, you will even understand how it is affecting our process. We will do that in the video ahead. The sadhana of any of the goddesses of Dasamahavidya, it is intense sadhana. It transmits a lot of lower energies within us very quickly into a higher state, and hence they're difficult sadhanas because they can change your life suddenly. They should not be done or undertaken on own effort. You need a guru to do these sadhanas, because the guru will help you in case the energies get too difficult to handle. And the guru's transmission is required here for you to be able to realize the power of that mantra or get the fruits of your sadhana. Without the guru's blessings, without the guru initiating you, it is difficult to attain it on our own, nearly impossible, except if the goddess has shown her mercy over you. Now, this is the image of Goddess Chinnamasta. It's a very shocking image. You will see that she's standing naked over a couple that is copulating. The copulation that is happening under her legs, it represents the suppression of sexual activity or sexual sublimation. So here when you are doing Chinnamasta sadhana, you should, generally it is said that you have to maintain celibacy, because our sexual fluids, they fuel our spiritual awakening process, both in men and women. At the level of the sacrum or the level of the Swadhisthana chakra, we have sexual fluids. These sexual fluids, when we do not release it externally, in the physical level and even at the mental level, when we are so much involved into sadhana that we don't even think of it, the sexual energy within us gets transmuted into ojas. I made a video on this. I'll post the link to that video in the description box below. And it is through the vajra nadi that this sexual energy rises up into the head and becomes ojas. So the unused sexual energy, this will propel your spiritual awakening process. that rises up through the spine and into the head area, and it rises up to the vajra nadi. The second picture you see here, this is the spiritual biology of your spine. This spine is in your subtle body. We have many sheaths around our individual consciousness. I've always spoken about the sheaths in many different videos. So here you can see that we have 5 sheaths which envelop our individual consciousness. The individual consciousness is a central Om. The outermost sheet, which is the Annamaya Kosha, is the physical body. The next comes the Pranamaya Kosha or the pranic sheath. This is where you have your subtle systems, the nadis, the chakras, kundalini, the pranic movements, they all happen at this level. Then you have the Manomaya Kosha where your emotions work. And then comes Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is your thought body, intellect body. And then comes the inner blue area is the Anandamaya Kosha, which is your bliss body. This is where you experience bliss in higher states or samadhi states. And within all this is the individual consciousness. So here, please be clear that I'm talking about the pranic sheath. That is the second sheath from the outside. So in the pranic sheath, you have various nadis. And here I'm referring to the nadis that are there in our spine. So corresponding to the spinal cord in the physical body, you have this nadi system in the pranic sheath. So here you will see that you have the Sushumna Nadi, which is a central Nadi, which it rises from the first picture here, from the Muladhara root chakra. You see a central yellow stick which is going up to this point. That is your Sushumna Nadi. And within this Sushumna Nadi, you have another Nadi which is represented in yellow color here, which is the Vajra Nadi. That also starts at the base of the spine. It is inside the Sushumna Nadi and it comes and ends a little above here. So these sexual fluids that get converted into ojas, they travel upwards through the Vajranadi. While they are traveling upwards, they are strengthening your chakras. In a way, they are fueling your chakras. Chakras become more active. There are a lot of psychic abilities and siddhis which are associated with the Vajranadi. So once the Vajranadi is totally cleansed and a person is able to tap into its potential, there are some psychic abilities that can get revealed to that person. So here the sexual sublimation is important. That is what this picture depicts here. And then you will see that the goddess is naked. Why is she naked? She is naked to show that she has transcended worldly attachments. She doesn't care about society, societal structures. So she is signifying a state which is beyond illusion and social constructs. And the focus here is on your inner power and especially the primal energy of Kundalini. A normal person who's caught up in the societal structures, he has fears, he has shame. When we do something which is against societal norms, we are put to shame or guilt. But here the goddess has transcended all that. That is why you'll see many tantric goddesses, you will see them, they are naked. They don't care. They're living on the fringes of the society in the cremation ground. So they have overcome shame. They have that much of inner power. And then you will see that she has severed her head. The head represents the ego. So severing the head means that her energy will increase your spiritual growth. It will not feed your ego. Then you see that there are 2 attendants next to her. The attendants are named as Jaya and Vijaya. There are other names also for them, but we call them Jaya and Vijaya. So these 2 attendants, they represent the Ida and Pingala Nadi within us. Here, you can see the Ida and Pingala Nadi. So these are three most important Nadis. The goddess represents the Sushumna Nadi, and the Pingala Nadi, it starts at the base of the spine. On the right side, you can see it as a red crisscross line moving upwards and ending here. And then the Ida Nadi also starts at the base of the spine. It is also crisscrossing. Now, wherever Ida and Pingala are crisscrossing, that is your chakra junction. That is where the chakra lies. And the Ida Nadi, it is ending here. They come and join like this here. The Pingala Nadi represents your inner masculine energy. Every person is half masculine, half feminine. So the left side of every person is their feminine energy, which represents the mind, the moon. Whereas every person's right side, right half, is the Pingala Nadi, which represents the sun, the physical body, and these two represent the two attendants of the goddess, and the goddess herself represents the Sushumna Nadi here. Then you will notice that the blood is oozing out of the neck area which got severed. This represents the upward flow of pranic movement in the body. In the Kundalini awakening process or in any spiritual awakening process, we experience the upward rise of pranic energy through the body, through the spine, through the center of the body. You will feel it rising upwards. This rises upwards because we are now interested in spiritual growth. We don't want to be caught up in Maya, in delusion. We understand that to some extent. We are questioning our reality. We want to come out of the, the kind of Maya we are stuck in. We want to release from it. We are slowly understanding that we need to evolve. So when that understanding starts sinking in, and when we're doing sadhana to that effect, or maybe we have received some initiation, the pranic activity, it moves upwards through your spine and through the center of the body, and that is what is getting represented here. This energy which is coming out, you will feel it coming out from this area. When you have an awakening or a Kundalini awakening, you will see that there is a gush of energy that is coming out of your head. Now, in the picture, this energy is divided into three streams. These three streams, one of those three streams is feeding the attendant on the right side, one is feeding the attendant on the left side, and one stream is going into the goddess's mouth, the mouth of the head which is severed. So this is the imagery here. Now what does this mean? So here you will see that the one of the attendants, she represents the Ida Nadi and one represents the Pingala Nadi. What happens in a spiritual awakening process is, as we are awakening, as this energy is rising up the spine, we start purging a lot of things, and then we start moving back and forth in time because we need to resolve, we need to heal from the uh, pain, from the fear, we need to clear away the karma, and then many times you will see that you'll be anxious about the future also. There are fears about the future. Even the process itself will magnify your fears. So there is a kind of swinging that is happening where in the present moment you're either swinging into the past or you're swinging into the future. And this swinging happens for a reason, and it is increased so that you can resolve issues at both ends. When you do that, more and more pranic energy will move through the central Sushumna channel. And as the pranic energy is rising up the central Sushumna channel, you will slowly notice that over a period of time, you have healed from your past. You're no longer living in the past. You don't identify with anything about your past. And you're not worried about the future. So you are sort of rooted in the present moment. Or at least most of the time you are working from the present moment. And this change comes within you because of your sadhana and because the energy is rising up. In a way, it is removing the sense of time within you, your connections to the past, your worry for the future, all those connections are getting cut away. When that is cutting away, you are now moving into the present moment. So the Chinnamasta Devi's her effect on us in the spiritual awakening process or in the Kundalini awakening process, it happens at a much later stage. You will not experience the symptoms which I'm going to tell you in the video. uh, you will not experience those things at the beginning of the process. They happen a little, when the process has reached a little level of maturity. That is where you will feel it. So, one of the uh, streams of blood that is coming out of the goddess's head is feeding the left side of the body, and one of the streams coming out of the goddess's body is it is feeding the right side of the body. So, as I said earlier, the energy that is coming out from here, it becomes three streams. And these three streams, they are feeding three sides of the body. Here are the three streams that are coming out of the head. You can feel it coming out of the head like that. And when they come out of the body, one stream, it descends downwards. And here you have a point. This is the Payasvini Nadi. And here you have another point which pains a lot when you're having an awakening. So one stream is descending into this point and it is moving on to the left side of the body. So the right side is the Payasvini Nadi and the left side is the Shankari Nadi. So what are these Payasvini and Shankari Nadis? I spoke about Ida and Pingala Nadi. Now corresponding to these two Nadis, we have Payasvini and Shankari Nadis. As I said earlier, we have the Pingala Nadi, which is crisscrossing over the spine, that controls the right side of the body. In the same way, corresponding to Pingala Nadi, you have the Payasvini Nadi, which is running on the right side of the body. And in the earlier picture, I spoke about the Ida Nadi, which is crisscrossing over the spine. Corresponding to that, on the left hand side, you have another Nadi called the Shankari Nadi, which rises up like this. Through the ears, it goes up. Even this Payasvini Nadi is going through the ears on the right side. So the three flows that are dripping from over the head, those flows are going directly into the Payasvini Nadi and the Shankari Nadi, which are there on the right and left side. Now these two nadis have connection with your vagus nerve, the dorsal and ventral vagus nerve. And as I said, the right side of your body, it represents a physical body. The flow that is coming on to the right side, it will nourish your physical body. You will become physically very active and strong. And the left side nadi, it is nourishing your mental aspect. So here you will develop a very strong mind. Nothing will affect you anymore. You have come out of your past, you have totally healed. You stand in your inner power and you express your authenticity. In a way, it is creating a balance between the left and right side of your body, and the left and right side are functioning beautifully here. Because of which your spiritual level is very high. And the central flow is feeding your mouth. At a higher point in the process, you will experience a flow inside of the mouth from the upper palate. Here, a big flow, thick flow. But this is not water, and I can't even call it as air. It feels otherworldly, a kind of a prana. Say you have a tap here, and you open the tap, and a very thick flow of water is flowing into your mouth. except for that this is not water, this is a pranic energy, and when this flows your mouth feels electrical, your mouth it feels sweet. There's a lot of electrical activity in the mouth, and then this flow is not feeding your ego, because once you come out of your past, once you have healed yourself, you're living more in the present moment. The upward flow of energy in your spine, the way you breathe changes. Normally, a person breathes 10 or 12 times or more than that, and they're just breathing into the chest area. So they react very quickly for everything. Now, because your pranic energy is rising through the spine upwards, you will notice that at a higher level in your spiritual evolution, you are breathing into your belly. As a natural state, you're doing it. So when you reach that state, what happens is your very breath is now feeding your spirit. It is not feeding your ego. When you're breathing here, you're feeding your ego. But when you're breathing into your belly, it is feeding your spirit. Because of which the person's energy is allowing that person to transmit lower order things. And because goddess Chinnamasta, she represents compassion, kindness, and she increases that quotient within you. Her effect works like that. When Chinnamasta enters your life, you will see that her energy is coming into your Manipura chakra, the solar plexus, and it is rising up through your body. When it is rising up through your body, it is changing your heart. It is changing how your heart and brain are wired. It increases selflessness, compassion, love, and this love is unconditional. You get to experience that kind of love because of the grace of Goddess Chinnamasta. As I said earlier, the energy of the goddess, it works predominantly on the stomach, solar plexus region. That is where it starts. So, in the story of Goddess Chinnamasta, the goddess's attendants are hungry. They are so hungry that they want the goddess to feed them. So they ask the goddess, "We are very hungry, please feed us. We cannot bear this hunger." So this is the kind of hunger you will experience when goddess Chinnamasta enters your life. And that is because the belly fire increases. We have fire in the belly, the Agni, the fire, one of the five elements. And when this power of Agni is beautifully burning in your belly, your food gets digested very nicely. And the food gets converted into energy also very nicely. And hence, whatever you eat, it will turn into physical strength. There won't be any issues with stomach disorders with regarding to digestion here. So, apart from that, at this point, you will even experience the flow, upward flow of energy through the spine or through the central part of the body. And here, there are a lot of symptoms that you will experience. First thing is, as I said, increased hunger. You'll be so hungry. You'll be just searching for food, and no, and your eating capacity will like double or triple. And your hunger will not be satiated. You want more food, and you'll eat very happily, and your energy levels will be high. There will be more mental clarity because, as I said, one part of the flow is coming onto the left and it is going onto the left side of the body. So there is high mental clarity. You understand things very quickly. You are able to understand the reality very quickly. You are able to understand your own emotions, your processes, everything very fast. Concepts, there's clarity. Intelligence is burning bright. The reason for that is, here what is happening is when the fire is in the belly, it is the it is called the Jataragni or the Agni, that is fire, which is there in the belly. In a normal person, it is functioning there alone, and that is why they're only looking for food. When you notice some people who overeat, they are basically stupid. They're stupid because they're eating so much throughout the day that the entire fire of the belly is going towards digesting the food. It is not getting any uh, rest from that. When we are disciplined with our eating habits, the fire in the belly, after you digest the food, it goes up here, and here it becomes a fire of knowledge. When you can connect the belly fire to this fire, it becomes a fire of knowledge. I made a video on Shakambari Devi. I'll post the link to that in the description box below. You can watch it. That is where I explained how this happens. Apart from that, I even made a video on my experiences with 4 goddesses of Dasamahavidya. I'll post that video link also in the description box below. So the fire in the belly, because there's an upward flow of energy, and this upward flow of energy is happening because Goddess Chinnamasta, she shows her mercy to you in that way, and you will experience that upward rise of that belly fire is rising up through the chest. The entire chest area is turning hot, your body is turning hot, your belly is hot. When I say belly, I mean stomach, the solar plexus region, not exactly the belly. So the stomach region is very hot. All this area becomes hot, and then the Vishuddhi chakra, it starts turning a lot, rotating a lot. And that energy, fire just goes up into the head, and this entire head region becomes hot. Your ears become warm, both sides, because that is the heat of the stomach that is rising up. And when it rises up into the head, it becomes the fire of intelligence. It becomes the fire of the soul, where the soul is now matured. The soul has that light, that bright light within it. This person's intensity operates from a different level. The rising heat is actually the warm or slightly hot pranic energy. The fire in the stomach is being taken upwards. And when it is happening, you will feel electrical sensations also. So this fire, when it comes to the heart region, our heart, it is divided at birth. I made a video on this where I talk about the subtle body, subtle human body. And when we are in our mother's stomach, in the very first few weeks, when the embryo is getting formed, the heart division happens then itself. It gets divided into left side and right side, and hence we are divided. It is because we are divided within, we see division externally. We cannot see unity externally. And hence we are caught up in duality. Hence we have to understand that at the heart region, you have a lot of things working here. And when everything here gets unified, you are unified within. You are healed within. There are no more judgments. When we are in division, we judge others, we judge ourselves. But once we have brought everything within us into unity, the heart division has got healed. We are unified within. We see unity externally. We become wiser, because of which we develop a lot of empathy. We can see where every soul is in their awakening process. Some are unawakened. We can understand their suffering. We empathize with them. Some are in the process. We understand where they are. We understand and we empathize with them. We can see them from their point of view. We can understand them. We have compassion even for the wicked. There is more forgiveness, more transformation. Unconditional love is experienced here. Everything that is related to the heart is experienced. This is experienced because you're moving into more of unity. The inner fragmentation which you had now is coming into wholeness. And that happens here. So if you look at the picture here, you can see that in and around the heart region, you have a lot of chakras. On the right side, you have the Manas Padma, and this is linked to your mind. When this is not functioning properly, we have a clouded mind. When I say not functioning properly, I'm talking about people who are caught up in Maya. It is a clouded mind. When the left side of the heart, the Hrit chakra, when that is not opened, we find it very difficult to manifest things. We are not able to make a connection to the higher divinity. So, our ability to manifest, our ability to connect with God, the bliss states that we experience, it all comes from here because this Hrit region is linked to your bliss body. I just showed you the various sheaths. Okay, so here there is the blue area which is the bliss sheath. So this is linked to your Hrit chakra. And generally, this opens or you feel that bliss only a little when you move ahead in the process. And then beneath the Anahata chakra, you can see the Anahata chakra in the middle, and beneath the Anahata chakra, you have two black lines on the sides like that. That is called the Lakshmi Alaya. So what happens here is because of the upward rising of energy and it is rising through the heart, there's a lot of electrical activity happening in this area. Pranic movements are happening there. And then there is heat, there's tingling sensations. And then you will notice suddenly that new flow of energy is happening in and around this area. For example, you have the Hrit here, the Anahata here, the Manaspadma here, you have the High Heart here, you have the Vishuddhi here, and then you have the Lakshmi Alaya here. So here you will notice the suddenly pranic energy, new flow of energy is happening from this side into Anahata, from this side into Anahata, underneath the Lakshmi Alaya is flowing, and there are a lot of connections happening, lot of electrical flow, even within the heart, there are knots, the knots get pierced, and the heart is also experiencing a lot of electrical flow, heat flow, and then sometimes you can even feel bliss in this area. And then the high heart also is getting activated. The high heart is your thymus gland. Generally, when we reach the age of 15, the thymus gland it shrinks, and that is why as we age, we get older, and then we have these immunity issues. And in a normal person, the thymus gland does not recover. It does not start functioning like the way it used to do in childhood. It is only in a spiritual awakening or Kundalini awakening the thymus gland again starts expanding and working. So you'll feel a kind of pain here. It is quite painful when it is trying to open up. And then the energy moves up into the neck. Vishuddhi chakra also gets very activated. So all these symptoms, what is happening here is that entire electrical activity, the pranic movement activity at the chest level, it is opening up all the pathways, energetic pathways. And when these energetic pathways open up, the inner duality which we had, that is getting integrated. We're coming into unity. And as we come into unity, we are coming out of clouded mind because the energy is flowing this side. You're coming out of the clouded mind. The energy is moving towards Hit chakra, or the energy in the Hrit chakra is moving this side, because of which you are able to connect to a higher power. You're able to manifest things. You're able to experience bliss. And then the heart field also increases. So here you're experiencing a lot of compassion, a lot of peace, transformation, gratitude. You feel that you need to be of service. All these things which are heart related, the kind of joy, bliss, everything comes from here. You start experiencing all those things. And then here, this is the nervous system. So this energy which is moving upwards, it's not only affecting your central nervous system. Central nervous system consists of the spinal cord and the brain. So it is not only affecting that, even the peripheral nervous system, that is the nerves that are coming out of the spine and going into the body, it is affecting that system also. So your entire body can heat up, you'll feel a lot of electrical sensations, pranic movements, and the upward rising prana, it is moving through the chest and even through the back. But here predominantly you will see how the upward rising prana from this level is affecting your brain, because that heat goes up into your brain. And this part is the prefrontal cortex. When I talk about soul, what is soul? Soul is the essence of your many lifetimes. In the prefrontal cortex, you have the connections, different connections to different organs that are there in the brain or different parts of the brain. So it is more like you have the wiring system here. The more well wired your brain is, the higher you are in your spiritual intelligence or spiritual awakening process. So when I say that a soul gets developed, the essence of the soul gets developed over many lifetimes, it simply means that the wiring in the prefrontal area, it is in a better shape than somebody who has a personality disorder. And hence you can feel things like empathy, you can postpone gratification, you can respond to situations rather than reacting to them impulsively. So all these good qualities or better qualities come into you when the prefrontal cortex is working well, when the wiring is well. Because even the quality of hormones and how those hormones should be used in your brain, a lot of factors are decided in the prefrontal cortex. It is for higher thinking, organization within how things are organized within your body, analytical thinking, everything. It is the prefrontal cortex. Now, so the energy that is rising up, it is going into the prefrontal cortex. It is making this part warm. It is changing the prefrontal cortex. And even here, you will notice that the way you think, the way you see situations, everything changes when the prefrontal cortex is changing. Suddenly, you have insights, you understand things differently, you start looking back at your life and understand why a situation happened, and now it makes more sense to you. It makes more sense to you right now because of the connections in the heart. You have overcome the clouded mind, you are able to think with clarity, and the energy that is coming out of your head has three flows. One flow, as I said, is going on to the left side, it is feeding your mind, so there is more clarity of thought. You understand things. Things just make sense to you. And because you understand, as I said, the fire in the belly becomes a fire of knowledge here. And then you have the motor cortex in this region. The motor cortex, this is linked to your stomach. And this is linked to the Saraswati Nadi also. I made a video on Saraswati Nadi. I'll post the link to that. Watch that video if you want to understand this better. You will notice that many sports people, many people who use their body, for example, dancers, artists, uh, it could be somebody who's wrestling or athlete, they all have a good motor cortex. And that gives the motor control to them. And that is why here you will notice when Chinnamasta Devi comes into your life, you will have a lot of mudras. You will be doing mudras because the motor cortex gets activated. You will be doing mudras like this. And most important mudra is this. You'll be rubbing both these fingers like this together, consciously or unconsciously. And this happens because this finger represents your fire and this represents the air element. So here the stomach and the uh, heart are getting activated, or they are more active. So you will be seeing that you will be doing this mudras where you're rubbing the fingers together, or either you're getting them together and they are like that. That is especially what you will notice. Apart from that, there are other mudras also which you will do. Especially when the motor cortex gets activated, you will be doing mudras without your knowledge. They happen unconsciously. So, as I said earlier, the person will be eating happily. Like it is said in the story or the legend where the attendants of the goddesses are asking the goddess, Ma, please feed us. Mother, please feed us. We are very hungry. We cannot tolerate this hunger. you will experience that same hunger here, where you will be constantly, you'll be surprised how much you'll be eating in that phase. So that phase can last for a week, or sometimes it can come and go. It can be an intermittent thing happening, but and sometimes it can stay for a longer period. Everybody has their own way in how things unfold within them. But here, mostly you'll be questioning everything. So much of questioning, so much of mental clarity. It's like everything makes sense to you now. You're able to process your emotions very nicely, process your thoughts very nicely, and hence you can maintain peace even in stressful situations. When somebody is trying to trigger you, you can see that they are trying to trigger you, and you maintain your calmness here. You know how to respond to a person. Now, the prefrontal cortex, the chakra that is there, which is the Buddhi chakra. Buddhi chakra is a little above your third eye. This is your third eye, which you can see as an eye in the first picture at the bottom. Above that, you have the Manas chakra, and then you have the Buddhi chakra. This Buddhi chakra is where the fire element burns in the head. So at this point, this is your third body. At this point, the fire in the belly becomes, it burns bright here as a fire of knowledge. So you will notice that there are a lot of downloads coming to you. Uh, Things just, information just comes to you. It's like, you can just connect things and make sense of things here. Apart from that, there's a deep level of compassion inside of you. You can understand how humanity suffers at a universal level, how it is happening. You can see how the person who is of predatory in nature is preying on somebody who's gullible or weak. You can see all those things, you understand all those things, and it pains you. In a way, it pains you, in a way, you understand why it is there, and you even understand that the path to spiritual evolution happens through that. You have to build your stairs of spiritual evolution through all that layers of lower vibration. And here many even want to help others who are caught up in lower vibrational states. So the sexual fluids, as I said earlier, they are rising up through the vajra nadi. So many develop psychic abilities. You will feel your ears getting warm, especially the left one. The goddess Chinnamasta is linked to a lot of occult knowledge, occult practices, because once your Vajranadi gets activated and certain areas of the brain get activated, the knowledge of occult comes to you. You will have experiences which are otherworldly in nature. Many have out of body experiences, many meet other dimension entities, all these things. Apart from that, there are some other siddhis also. They also can become part of your experience. We eat well here. There is a lot of mental clarity, so you are at peace and you sleep very well at this level. You have totally healed from your past, and whatever spiritual technique you are doing or sadhana you're doing, it is only feeding your spirit here. It is not feeding your ego. Because as I said, that flow which comes into your mouth, it is, if you look at the picture of the goddess, her head is severed. Because her head is severed, the flow is just going into the mouth. It is not feeding the ego, it is feeding the selflessness within the person. When the head is on the neck, it is ego. When it is removed from the neck, it is a state which is away from ego. So here, the flow is feeding the spirit and not the ego of the person. That is a very high state of spiritual evolution. So there is, the person gradually loses identification with the body and mind. And you will notice that a lot of the main channels in the body have opened up, the pranic channels, and a lot of pranic energy is moving through various channels. So when Goddess Chinnamasta comes into your life, she affects you in many different ways, especially when you are already at a higher level in the process. Then when you do her sadhana, the effect is, you can see it fast. But then even if you have not experienced any spiritual awakening, you can start doing the sadhana of Dasamahavidyas under an able guru, and that will take you to this level. So the main thing which Chinnamasta goddess gets into your life is the sublimation of sexual energy, rerouting the fire in your belly into the head. Then a strong physical body, strong mental clarity, the division that is there within the heart, it heals. And as it heals, we can see the truth. The truth lies beyond the Maya. As long as we are in the Maya, we cannot see the truth. We get triggered. If something is triggering you, something is deluding you, it is Maya. So now you are in that zone where you don't get triggered, you don't get deluded, and you're able to see the truth. And here your Vishuddha chakra gets very active when the energy is rising upwards, entire body is hot. The energy is rising up to the back also. And when this Vishuddha chakra gets activated, you will feel that from the belly region upwards, a lot of strong energy current is moving into that head. And the Udana Vayu, which is resting here, it is one of the pranic energies. It is called the Udana Vayu, which is here. That vayu rises up into the brain, it goes into different centers of the brain, and it opens up and activates a lot of brain centers which are linked to the thousand petal sahasrara chakra. The mother feeds you. The mother, she feeds you with her own energy, because in my experience there was a dream where, the goddess's energy, the goddess was standing next to me. Generally when Chinnamasta appears in your dreams, she will not stand in front of you, she will stand diagonally. She was standing diagonally to the right, and then from her was coming a flow of energy into my solar plexus, and that energy was rising up into my head. That was my dream. And after that happened, all these things which I mentioned in this video happened to me. So I speak from personal experience after tasting the divine blessings of Goddess Chinnamasta. Please be aware that these Dasamahavidya sadhana cannot be done on our own. It should be done under the guidance of a guru, because these are heavy transmutational energies. A person should be ready for this level of sadhana, and you need a guru to guide you here, because the Samavidyas, they can change a very spiritual fabric in 1 or 2 lifetimes. Understand that. So always seek the blessings of your guru, and then make sure your guru belongs to the right lineage, and then do the sadhana under the guidance of the guru, and you will reach that state. Namaste.